Today we will be discussing topic selection, organization, and research. As you probably already know, you will get all of your topics from 30minuteprep.com. Make sure that you have already signed up and logged in. Once you sign up and log in, the button right under your name on the right side of the screen, which also happens to be a red button, says Current Events. Go ahead and select that button. You will then be taken to the place where there are 5 topic areas listed for the week. Those 5 topic areas will be the only topic areas we will be talking about for the week. Remember, as we go forward, each of these topic areas has multiple questions, but you won't know those questions ahead of time because we really want you to prepare in 30 minutes. But you will have a good idea of what to pay attention to in the news. So I recommend getting in the habit of listening to the news, watching the news, or reading the news on a regular basis. Once you've taken a look at some information regarding the topic areas, now's a good time to press the button on the right bottom that says Start. This is also a red button. The next screen you will be brought to is a screen that will give you a 2-minute timer to select which of the 3 questions you would like to use as your practice speech topic. Now remember, while you don't know what these questions will be in advance, you absolutely know that they have to be questions about the 5 topic areas. So, once you've made your choice, just press Select, another red button at the bottom left, for whichever of the 3 questions you would like to give a practice speech on. The next screen will start a 30-minute timer. So you will have 30 minutes to prepare your speech. Keep in mind the first few speeches that you give may only go a minute in practice, 2 minutes in practice. That 30-minute prep timer will go fast. You may only have time to prepare 1 or 2 main points and sort of wing an introduction. This is still progress. The next speech should be a little bit easier and you should be a little bit better. When you are finished actually practicing your speech, for which a 7-minute timer appears, this is the next screen you will see, which will ask you multiple questions about your presentation. So you will be asked the main points of your practice presentation. Please just list the main points by name. No need to write out the entire speech. Next, it will ask you to list the sources you cited in this presentation. Please list those sources in the style you would cite them aloud in your speech. So, for example, the New York Times, August 5th, 2019. There's no need to list an author or the name of an article. The reason that the New York Times article is credible to your audience is because it's from the New York Times, not because Sherry Smith wrote it or any other staff writer's name. Now, no offense to journalists, they're fantastic, but the reason that our audience will buy our sources as reliable is because of the name of the publication. We also want to know the date because we want to make sure that we have up-to-date information. And it's easy for the audience to remember, oh, August 5th, 2019 New York Times rather than an entire article name and an entire author name. The next question will be, what did I do well? And what do I need to improve? Those two questions, you should give a nice paragraph of what you think you did well and what you need to improve. At the beginning of your practice presentations, it may be a lot easier for you to fill in that what I need to improve part, but trust me, if you stood up and gave a speech, you did something well. So, be sure to really fill out what you did well. And then on what you need to improve, don't go overboard. And finally, what 2 skills will you focus on for your next presentation? Just list them. So, perhaps you feel like you need to work on eye contact and transitions. Just list those 2 things. As we know, our presentations take so many skills to be done really well. We don't want to overwhelm ourselves with trying to get all of those skills done and down in just one practice session. So limit yourself to 2 skills you want to focus on for the next one. So that's the way that you would get to the journal if you go through it on your own. You're practicing by yourself. Perhaps you have friends or family members in your home with you that you can practice in front of, but you could even practice in front of a mirror or in front of a wall and you are still making progress. This next way of getting to the journal is if you have recorded a practice presentation or a presentation for a grade, posted it in the discussion board, and now you want to make a journal based on your own feedback to yourself as well as your classmates' feedback to you. So you'll see that you select the button Journal at the top right of the home screen for 30-minute prep. Right below that, on the left, is a blue button that says Record in-class journal. All of the discussion board presentations are considered in class. And that journal will have the same questions as before, but it won't automatically fill in your topic and your time because it doesn't know what topic or time you had. So you'll fill those in, but it's the exact same questions. And at the very end of the semester, when you fill in your final student progress narrative, that's the button to the right of the blue Record in Class Journal button. And that one says Final Student Progress Narrative. When you click on that, you will be brought to a screen that has 8 questions about your final reflection on your progress as a speaker throughout the semester. And those answers should be paragraphs and complete sentences. So now that we know where we are going to get our topics from and what to do with our own reflection and other people's feedback when we need to fill out a journal, we can talk about how we're actually going to organize these speeches. So the informative speech, remember, the purpose is to teach or share information rather than to just give one side of a story. You're going to start with the topic question that you select. You want to answer that question with a maybe or something open. So if the question is a yes or no question, you might decide to give the answer maybe or we'll see. And then your 3 main points can either be past, present, future, or you can use topical organization where you simply break your main points into areas that support your open answer. And then support each of these main points with 2 sources. In terms of persuasive, you will again start with your topic question and answer that question. In this case, what's going to define it as a persuasive rather than an informative is that you will give a clear answer. If the question is yes or no, you will answer yes or no. If it's an open-ended question, you will give a very concise answer that shows that you have taken a stand or a side. In this style speech, you will give 3 reasons for your answer, or you can break this into problem, cause, solution. Support each reason or problem, cause, solution with 2 sources. You may be wondering where to get all of this information and these sources to support your presentation. I highly recommend using the library databases. Go to library.mountsac.edu, select Articles and More, then Databases A through Z, the letter U, then specifically the database US News Stream. I recommend using the advanced search so that you can use multiple search terms. And if at first you are unable to find information, be sure that you try different search terms. Don't just give up. So don't type your question into the database and expect it to come up with the answer. Select different search terms that are related to this question. Once you've found an article that you like and you think would be useful to your presentation, select that article. And on the right upper part of the screen, there are a few buttons to select from. Select the button that is the second in from the left with the quotation marks that says the word cite. And then you are going to make sure that you select APA citation and copy paste that APA citation for later use when you are ready to make your informative or persuasive outline. I hope this has been useful information to you in getting ready to give your speeches.